afternoon and welcome to Ek Samvaad at Arunima Ankuran. Yat bhavo tad bhavati. You become what you believe. Arunima Ankuran supports sportspersons, and this Ek Samvaad at Arunima Ankuran is a celebration of National Sports Day, which is on the 29th of August 2021. We have two absolutely fabulous badminton players from Nagpur city as our guests today, player and coach Kiran Makode sir and player Rohan Gurbani. We'll talk to them about life on the badminton court and beyond. A word about Arunima Ankuran. This is an initiative for positive social change through self-development. The goal is greater well-being and happiness for all. At Arunima Ankuran, we believe that each person is unique and special in some way, that each person can make a difference, each person can make an impact, and that is what inspires us every day. So the National Sports Day is celebrated on Major Dhyan Chand's birthday on August 29 to honor the hockey legend. Sporting events and seminars are organized to spread awareness about the importance of physical activities and sports in life. The National Sports Day is also an occasion that sees the nation honor its sporting heroes with recognition. And Arunima Ankuran is extremely grateful to the two sports persons who accepted our invitation and feature in today's Samvad. Fit India movement was launched on 29th August 2019 by the Honorable Prime Minister with a view to make fitness an integral part of daily lives. The mission of the moment is to bring about behavioral changes and move towards a more physically active lifestyle. So, a very warm welcome to Ek Samvaad. What I'm going to do is I'm displaying this slide. I would just request both of you to walk us through your achievements. Sir, we'll start with you.
Okay, so as it is displayed, I'll just like to convey that, first of all, good afternoon, all of you. And I would like to convey that as displayed in this sheet, I have played 5 senior world championships representing India, which were held in 2009 in Spain, then in Turkey in 2013, then Sweden in 2015, and India hosted it in 2019 and 2017, and then recently in Poland in 2019. And one of my favorite achievements of the recent times was I was a national champion in the last before COVID, the last national championship which was held in 2019, rather 2020 of Jan in Jaipur. And then again a very memorable trip was coaching the Indian junior team, which participated in the Dutch and German Open Championship, where I had a very good time with the rising stars of India, junior girls and boys both. Then there was a very good course held in India by the BWF for the first time. That was a certified course by the Badminton World Federation for level 1, which I successfully did in Valsad. Then Olympic Gold Quest, which is another very good platform for the coaches at the elite level, and which has been conducted by Padukone and Gagan Narang academies together along with Gopichan Academy. So I was the fortunate few in the first batch of 7 coaches selected pan-India out of the 100 applicants. So that was one course which I've done. And recently I have been the coach of the Maharashtra team, which participated in again the pre-COVID last nationals, junior nationals, in which Rohan Gurbani was one of our star players, and unfortunately he missed the title in the finals, and which is something was very disappointing for me also as a coach and for Nagpurians. And apart from that, I have been instrumental in shaping the careers of many players in the city. To name a few is like first was Vaibhav Bisne, who he won a national title as well as the international title in doubles along with the current India #1 doubles player Jarak Shetty. They won the junior title in Indonesia. Then Vaishnavi Bhale, she has represented India several times. Then Malvika Bansot, everybody knows her, she has also done really well. Then Rashi Lambe. Then in the universities, that was a record in Nagpur University, was like 3 of our girls represented Indian university team which participated in the world universities. I think no university in the India has ever done like that. Like all the three girls were from Nagpur University. That was Bhakti, then Khushbu, and Vaishnavi Bali. Apart from them, there were many players who have been doing well, and I am lucky to have such students. So that was my side of the story as a coach basically and as a player. Rohan can put
Yes.
some this thing about his career achievements.
Yes. Rohan, please go ahead.
Hello everyone. First of all, ma'am, thanks for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here. And to start with my achievements, as shown in the slides, I have won nationals in under 17, and as Sir said, I was runner-up in under 19. So, lots to learn from that experience for me and Sir both,
Mhm.
as was coaching me throughout the whole tournament. And then I have represented India at World Junior level at Russia, and 2 years ago I had represented India at Asian Badminton Championships at Myanmar. Both
Wow.
of which I lost to Asian players in pre-quarters, I think,
Mhm.
but that too great experience for me overall. And then I have won several state championships, and you get a lot more to there's a lot more to learn in those tournaments, as there's more pressure in that. Everybody expects you to win,
Mhm.
and perform there is like a real honor, because everybody wants to see you win and they support you in these tournaments. And I have also played SDFI and CBSE national tournaments for my school, and I have won gold there in
Wow.
both under 14 and under 17. And I have also won All India championships. The nationals and All Indias are different. Nationals you go from the state, and All India you basically represent yourself. So I have won these tournaments at Raipur, Patna, and Gulbarga.
Wow. So, many congratulations to both of you for all those stupendous achievements that we've just heard from you about. And for me personally, I'm a lover of sport, but badminton is something that's very close to my heart. And I'm really grateful that both of you found time and joined us here today. So, we'll start with Rohan first. Rohan, why did you choose to start playing badminton?
Uh, I think 10 or 11 years ago, my father took me to a badminton court. He used to play there himself to a club. So the moment I started playing it, I just fell in love with the game. The feeling I got playing, I just time stopped for me whenever I used to hold the racket, and I just enjoyed it thoroughly. So
Wow. And so, what about you? Tell us, how did you start playing badminton? And it's such a delight to see that you are not only coaching players, you are actively playing even now. So, what motivates you and how has your journey been?
Yeah, so actually, it's very nice to see Rohan today. The Rohan and me, both of us are like years apart. Like when I started playing badminton and when Rohan started playing badminton, I'd say two different eras. So basically, during my time, there was no professionalism, there was no proper coaching when I started. It was in, I should say, late 70s or early 80s that time. So at that time, I was playing more of a cricket because cricket was very much popular in India. So
Mhm.
I got selected in the under 15 junior team of Nagpur, Vidarbha team,
Mhm.
and somehow I did not get a chance to play in the team. I was kept as a reserve only throughout.
Mhm.
So that was the turning point because then I realized that if you play in the team game, then many a times you don't get a chance. And in individual game, if you perform, then definitely nobody can stop you from participating in any tournament. So that was a turning point. So at the age of 13, I decided to shift to badminton because my elder brother was already playing badminton and he was doing well. So that was the reason for me going into the badminton at that time, switching over from cricket to badminton. So I
Okay.
started really late. I holded my racket for the first time at the age of 13.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
That was this thing. And the motivating factor is the passion for the game itself,
Hmm.
because it's a journey. Like each and every phase, if you enjoy it, every time you have, there's ups and downs, and if you enjoy it, then it pushes you further to go further. So it's a long journey. So,
Yes.
but to cut it short, it was like passion for the game, I should say. If you are passionate about the thing you want to do, you love it very much, then automatically get motivated for
And you have miles to go, sir. So all the best for the future
it.
also.
Thanks a lot.
Uh, so Rohan, my first question to you is, this is something in this country, very few parents actually encourage their children to play sport the way you are doing it. So tell me, what is the role of your parents when you chose to play badminton, and how have they contributed to your journey?
I think they were very supportive throughout the journey, and they still are. They say, whatever you want to do, as long as you're working hard on it and you have a clear vision on what you want to do. So, as long as you are dedicated, we will back you up 100%. So, that's their support towards me. And they have never even, even when I used to lose some matches, so we used to go out and have a good time, and they would say, just forget about it, look forward to the next match, learn from your mistakes. So there was no sort of pressure for me, as far as studies are concerned. And like, I used to study before 1 month before the exams, and I used to get good marks. So
Hmm.
as long as I was focused and working hard, I had no pressure from them. So
Wow.
they have been supportive.
Well, I would like to add a little bit because I know Rohan since a long time, since his childhood.
Hmm.
Hats off to his parents, because I have been in contact with his father Ravi for a long time, and
Hmm.
he has been really very very supportive of Rohan since the time he started playing badminton. I tell you, as a parent, he had his this thing, I should say, sort of excitement or sort of uneasiness, insecurity in his mind, whether to push his son further in badminton. And he used to discuss many times with me about that. But he was very clear that he'll keep all the options open for Rohan and he'll support him throughout, as long as he's really enjoying it and playing. Because he was good in studies also, I remember that.
Hmm.
So his father used to tell me many times कि सर क्या करना चाहिए, पढ़ाई में जाना चाहिए, इधर जाना चाहिए.
Hmm.
And I used to say कि let him do as per his choice. And his father was like unlike other parents, I should say, was very supportive. Otherwise, most of the parents always go in for studies, academics, after a particular time. But Rohan's parents were really very very supportive about that. So hats off to them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And also, I think hats off to Rohan, because there must be something in his behavior with reference to badminton that convinced his parents that, he means business. So
Yeah.
Rohan, tell us exactly how does your day work, and how many hours of training, and what are the different inputs that you have?
So there's 5 hours of training throughout the day. In the morning, we have 3 hours of playing sessions, and then in the evening, there's 2 hours of either gym or fitness.
Hmm.
But obviously, we have to be consistent with it. We can't miss sessions, and be- because after doing it uh, for a period of time again and again, you get in a rut, and sometimes you don't feel like going to sessions.
Hmm.
Sometimes you feel like skipping or taking a rest day. But that's when you have to push yourself
Yes.
and get up and do what you want to do. And then uh, it might not, the small improvements might not be visible, but over the period of time, uh, the difference can be seen if you are persistent and consistent with it. So,
Mhm. Okay, Rohan, what do you look for in a coach? What do you expect from a coach as a player? I'll come to Sir with the same question, but let me get it from Rohan first. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think maybe just good guidance as to what I should do, and I don't like any coach to force me to do anything. Like if they just say me something, I'll do it. But if they force me to do it, like if my game is not of my natural game is not of hitting hard smashes, but during the tournament, if some coaches just force me to do that, it just messes up my mind and I'm not able to concentrate.
Yes.
I i uh, i expect that they should just guide me and with considering how I play. So that I expect.
Oh, I think what you said is very
And
precious.
also a lot of dedicated time also. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes. Anything else?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
So, sir, since you're a coach and a player, what is the relationship of a coach and player ideally supposed to be like?
Yeah, ideally, I think the relationship between a coach and a player, na, it goes through various phases. It's like a parent's relationship with his child. If you're a long-term coach of any student, so I will say it's like when at the initial stage, you have to imbibe discipline in them, and
Yes.
then at that time you have to see that how the boy is as far as discipline is concerned, like whether he's attending all his sessions properly, whether he's coming on time, whether he's going on time, whether
Mhm.
he's following for proper protocol of diet and sleep and everything. But that is at the initial stage, and once you know that this boy is doing that, you come to know that yeah, he's having long term targets in his mind.
Yes.
Then later on, when he starts achieving and is doing well, and he also grows up in his age, so then that relationship little bit changes. I think as a coach, then you need to more focus on the technical aspects and the strengths and weaknesses of that player. As Rohan rightly said, if somebody is forcing him to hit smash edge, which is not natural to him, then that is something wrong on the part of the coach. He is not able to read or analyze the player properly, because every player has his plus and minuses. So as a coach has to analyze the game properly and see what is natural to this player
Mhm.
and what is something which is not natural to him. So you can definitely make him strong on his natural things, whereas you can try and reason him out about certain things which we think is essential for him to
Mhm.
beat the opponent. Like maybe hard hitting smashes is not important every time, but at
Mhm.
times to finish the rally it is required. At times playing this thing smashless game is really important, looking at the opponent, or something you have to just change the strategies, so you can just reasoning out and talk with the player like that. So coach has to see the level of the player, the phase of the player, at which phase is. And another thing is when they grow up, I mean at the after maturity age, or maybe 18, 19, 20 age, then that is something different, because there are different things in their mind which is going on. So that time again you cannot be that much, then you have to more or less look at the training schedules which you are preparing for them,
Mhm.
depending on the competitions, depending on the opponents they are going to face and all those things. So this varies from different phases of the this thing and age of the player. So it's very important, but throughout the bottom line I will say is the relationship of the coach and the player. Unless and unless there is a trust in between the
Yes.
two of them. If there is a trust of a player in the coach and the coach in the player, then there's no problem. Absolutely. Then it's very smooth. One small thing which is like I always say, there are three pillars of making a good player or champion. One is a player himself, and that is second one is the coach, and the third one is the parent. If all the three of them know their roles very properly, they don't go into each other's way, and they're able to support each other properly, then there's no problem. So this is also very important. Stage comes when where many a times children, they are not very comfortable with the parents strict discipline, or maybe parents this thing at home atmosphere or something like that. This time they come to the coach and talk to the coach, then coach has to see to it that he's comfortable. You have to explain to him. So at times you have to go beyond your badminton court and tell us, and all these things are really important, because if a player of a high caliber is the elite player is there and he has to shine at a higher level, then all the things has to come together. So coach becomes a very important part, because he's a person who is in between a player and a parent, so he has to handle the situation really very delicately. So that's the role of a coach, I feel. Very difficult one. But
You put it
interesting,
very
challenging.
extremely well. Yes. Um, Rohan, when we were just beginning the conversation, I remember you saying that there was a lot to learn, and that just reflected your attitude towards what, let's call it failure for the sake of calling it that, but you cannot win them also. There are some you win and some you lose. So, how does Rohan deal with failure? And who are some of the most challenging opponents you've played?
Uh, I feel like failure should be should not you should not look at it look at a game as you win or lose. You should
Yes.
look at it in terms of how you played and what all you can. Even if you win, you should think what all you can improve and what all things need to be changed. And yeah, so basically, you can't look at the outcome every time. You have to uh, be in love with the process, the training. That's where the magic happens. So yeah, and the one of the toughest players I've played are maybe the Chinese and Indonesians because they are physically very strong, and we have to be on point on the technical part to beat them.
So, talk to us about that experience. Mhm.
Yeah, so I had played a Chinese player in World Juniors, and I had basically no clue of what was going on. I had never received such matches of such speed or maybe the intensity of the game. But uh, I see many players from India beating the Chinese and Indonesians. Are senior players, Sai Praneeth and Srikanth. They all beat them continuously. So I think we need to focus on our strengths more than looking at the physical part. We have uh, good half. We can play good half smashes with good angles and maybe focus on our techniques, and that will help. That helps me also because I focus on my technical lot more than my physical thing.
Hmm.
Both are important, but I focus more on the technique.
Wow. Okay. So, sir, since you have been working with this younger generation of players also, so what are some of the technical inputs as a coach that you now realize have become more important than they were in, because they are playing at the international level, they are meeting opponents, who have trained under very different kind of circumstances, and they have much better facilities than most of our players do. So, talk to us about that.
Yeah, before that, just adding to what Rohan was saying about the failure aspect, I'll just add a
Hmm.
little bit on that also. I feel success and failure is part and parcel. You have to take it in your stride, because in every sphere of life, it's like that. You cannot be successful always, and you cannot be failure always too. So you have to always see the light at the end of the tunnel. So my basically, I feel failure is like a stepping stone for success. So whenever a player is playing in a game like badminton, where there is a one-on-one this thing confrontation, or I should say match against your opponent, you have to always retaliate within seconds. So you cannot be successful always. So there is going to be failure, but as you said, every failure teaches you something new. You have to be positive about it, and you're definitely going to learn from your. I should not say the word failure. It is just a setback. It's just setback, temporary, momentary setback at that particular moment. Sometimes it just happens that today I'm having little bit of stiffness in my body, and maybe I'm not able to do what I usually do in my practice sessions,
Hmm.
and that day I'm not able to do, and that's why I've not been able to give my best, or I've not been able to play to my potential. So that was just a setback. Only the brighter side is that I came to know about it. The what I can always say, which I always tell to my students, is that personal analysis. You should know yourself very well. The more you know from deep inside about your own self, then better for you next time when you go on the court to perform. So again, this is a setback just because of certain things that particular day which I could not perform to my potential,
Hmm.
or certain things which I still need to learn or I still need to excel in. Then definitely I'll do better in the next testing outing. So that is something I think if every player keeps in mind about failure or success, that's what we say, and definitely future is going to be good. And coming to the technical aspect which you said about this thing, uh,
Sorry.
at a higher level, definitely I say it's the game of chess, because after a particular stage, all the players, if you see them physically and technically, more or less they're at the same level. हम जो बोलेंगे ना 19-20 का फर्क रहता है, वो लोअर लेवल पे, जूनियर लेवल पे आपको काफी फर्क दिखता है, लेकिन हायर लेवल पे एवरीबडी नोज ऑल द स्ट्रोक्स, everybody maybe is of the same speed, everybody is maybe of the same sort of mental strength. Little bit I will say tactics, strategies, all these things are there, and that is why one of my favorite players of the recent time is Linden. Linden has brought many new changes in the game, like he cut the angles, as Rohan was saying. Many times we were taught that you should be using the corners of the court, but I have seen many times Linden has not been using the corners of the court. In fact, he was using the center part of the court many times in the matches because he had read his opponent very well and he wanted to cut his angles. He wanted to play such games wherein the opponent is not able to play to his strength. So this is something where the technique comes into play, like technique of hitting in the center, or technique of playing flat, or technique of playing deep, or definitely or deliberately not playing deep into the court. Then another, nowadays a new this thing, as you were talking about the facilities, is which we heard many times from Sindhu also, is the drift element of the air which is circulating in the big halls. So
Yes.
mastering that is a very big thing, especially when it comes at the international level. So that is also a technique which you need to learn. So many a times you have to practice in such a, or rather you have to stimulate yourself in such an environment. So all these things, I will say, it's part of learning, part of new techniques which has come in the badminton. So these things, as a coach, we need to tell the player, and a player many a times is not able to get those things done in practice also, because you may not get a big hall in practice session, but in
Yes.
the matches you get such a big hall. Maybe there is a drift. So initial rounds can be utilized for that. When you're having easy initial rounds, instead of just going and finishing off the match, you can just prolong the match because you know that you're going to win, but you can use that for adjusting yourself
Right.
of the, because in next few days you'll have a tougher match, maybe in quarters or semis. That time this will be helpful to you. So that is something which players of the current era who are playing at the international level or at a higher level should learn. This is what a coach has to also explain to the students.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Rohan, you want to add?
Say about failure, because in my experience, failure has worked as a major motivating factor
Exactly,
in
exactly.
my career. So I have noticed whenever I fail, I tend to push myself the hardest. I tend to be more focused and be more hardworking after my failure, and that's when I improve the most. So that's what I've learned.
Wow. And psychologists call this the growth mindset. The idea that there's nothing like failure, and I'm feeling so proud of you, Rohan. You're so young and you have so much of maturity in your thought process already. So you watched the Olympics? Did you watch the
Yeah.
Olympics? India. What do you think is the thing that is missing for us to get a gold in badminton?
More and more players should participate in Olympics. Like in every event, we had just one player playing. So the probability goes down just like that, because every other country, China had two players, Denmark had two players. So, and that's because Srikanth wasn't able to play, he wasn't selected. And some other players also didn't got selected because of some tournaments. But still, that's a factor, because the probability is low if only one player is playing. And apart from that, I think we could have won the medal in doubles also, and PV Sindhu could have also won. So I think in the next coming years, we will win.
Yes, and we also expect hope to see Rohan standing on that podium someday, and then
Absolutely,
we
absolutely.
yeah.
We'll be
So,
glad
sir,
to see that.
yes, all of us would like to see that. So, is there something you would like to say to conclude this conversation to the players and to the parents?
Yeah, talking about Olympic, the idea is like we need to little bit even bring more improvisation in the system. Currently, the system is going in the right direction, but you need to improve the system further if you really want consistently players performing at the international level and winning medals, say gold medal or the medals at the Olympic. We need to increase that harvest of Olympic medals. We should not be satisfied with few medals. For that, basically, we require a very good pool of players at the bottom level.
Yeah.
The more players are there at a competitive level, at the national level, state level, and the competition level of competition is really very high. Like Rohan was saying, in China we have that, in Denmark we have that. If that we are able to bring in our country, then definitely having medalists at Olympics is not going to be a difficult task. But to bring that, I think you definitely require very good pool of coaches also, because ultimately guru is the most important thing, without which a player cannot be made. I mean, the champion has to be very well given this thing, grassroots level training, then medium level training. That applies to every field, I feel. So we have a very good thing in academics. I always say that in academics, India is like it is one of the best in the world. So we have a very good system for academics in India. If we can really build up a system for sports like
Yes.
that, we have good pool of coaches at the grassroots level, and the graduation from grassroots to medium level and medium to elite level can be streamlined very well. And we have different level of coaches at different places with good support, governmental support. That's where I'm talking about building a system. If we have that, then definitely we'll have good players, because talent is not a problem for India.
Yeah.
India is definitely, like Rohan is one of them. We have very good pool of talented players in our country. So
Hmm.
definitely we can see them in the Olympic platform, winning as gold medals and many medals for India.
Yeah. So, in addition to all those other fans that you already have, Rohan, there are some more people here rooting for you. And okay, before we conclude this, Rohan, tell me something about beyond the badminton court that because of badminton it happened to you. You changed as a person. What are some of the things you see? Maybe three or four.
The first thing I saw is just to never quit. Like there are phases in my badminton career where I'm just not able to play, just not able to perform at my highest, uh, at my 100%. Like right now, also I had a 1 year break and I was at my home. Even though I was maintaining my fitness, it was really hard to get back because for 2 3 months I wasn't able to perform like what I used to. So that that phases are a bit disappointing for yourself, but with time in badminton, I've learned that there's always, like Sir said, a light at the end of the tunnel. So you just have to wait, and you don't even realize when you are out of the tunnel and playing very well. So that's one thing. And maybe discipline I have learned from the sport, eating right, and that I give advice to my parents also that you should eat healthy and take care of yourselves, exercise. Even if everyone doesn't want to play at a professional level, exercise and being healthy is very, as we can see now, it's very important, especially at this time. So yeah, these things are.
So I think this is beautiful. So, this reverse mentoring which Rohan is doing is such a beautiful gift to your parents and to, the elder generation. And it's very heartening for us to see that finally sports is finding its rightful place in society. And
Yeah.
thank you for the contribution that you are making in making this happen. And it was such a great pleasure talking to both of you. Wishing you both best in the future. And we hope to see you win many more laurels and bring glory to the country. And Rohan, when you go to the Olympics, remember that we are here and cheering for you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
So I will like to add a, yeah, Rohan, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you can say.
Yeah. On the occasion of National Sports Day, I will like to wish everybody. Thanks to Madam for inviting us today. And my last little bit of suggestion to the younger generation is like, especially for the boys and girls, younger boys and girls, this is the right time. You are born in this country.
Yes.
India is promoting sports like anything. There are so many schemes like Khelo India, Tops, and others. Now these people definitely they can make a career in sports. So I think they should definitely take or encash this opportunity. And on the National Sports Day, they should rather take a pledge that I'll win a medal for my country. And
Yes.
definitely we are there to support them.
Yes. So, Rohan, you heard that?
Very nice. Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
So this is for you to
Yes,
share with all the other friends you're playing with also.
yes, definitely. I'll share it with everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you so much for. I'm really
uh,
honored to be with sir and you. So, thanks
thank
a lot.
you. Thank you for being here and wishing you a happy National Sports Day. Keep shining. Khelega India to Khilega India, and we are seeing a very good example of that here. All the very best to you, Rohan, and to you, sir. Keep giving this country more champions like you've been doing in the past. Thank you.
It will be pleasure. Thanks a lot, and best luck to Rohan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.